Do I hear a vacuum?
Hello, welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We are getting ready for it. Les is searching for his vacuum, apparently.
That's right. Well, the squirrels took it.
yeah. So we've got a great couple of hours of a show for you. We're going to start off with Tesla. They've released a couple of different things. One is the Robo taxi, and that is interesting that they went with a two-door version of their vehicle, and it has gull-wing doors, which is kind of a strange choice for a taxi. But we'll talk about it. And then
Yes.
they also released something that looks sort of like a toaster, but it is the Cyber van, basically, I guess you would call it. And that would be like an autonomous vehicle. Apparently, you could use it as a diner, or look, you can go trick or treating in it. So
And it does make toast.
it does it does make toast.
It's
Kind of cool
it's
looking, huh?
it's slick. It's slick looking.
Yeah, and apparently, the Tesla Optimus robots were busting moves and handing out drinks. Frankly, that's one of the most interesting things I want to learn about is having a robot. Don't you think you'll have a robot maybe in your lifetime? I think
I
I
think.
might.
I think probably. I would love a robot that would clean the house. I mean,
Well,
just
that's one of the things they say. It can walk your dog if you have one, clean
good.
your house, be your friend, fix things, help you carry things. Sounds pretty good to me.
Well, it really does. I don't want it to drive my car.
No.
I do
But
not want that.
anyway, speaking of driving cars, we'll also talk about the Nissan Pathfinder. They have some pricing out on the 2025 model. Nissan's had a tough go, so we'll see if this does well for them. I hope it does.
Yeah. Mini is revealing some of its convertibles, which is it's cool. They always look great. I just have to say, even around here in DC, the convertible tops on minis are down when it's snowing.
I believe that's a requirement. Didn't they used to have a decal on the dash that said, "Really, do you have to have the top up?" You,
That's right.
they are so popular in Europe. I mean, every other car is a Mini. But so we're going to find out about what's going on with the convertible um, model that's coming to the U.S. And then why are some Americans less really turned off by plug-in hybrids? They like hybrids, but they don't like the plug-in hybrids.
Yeah,
So,
this is. I didn't see this coming. Frankly, I didn't see it coming.
yeah, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that, and there's new potential new vehicle from Acura that we're going to get to. Also, new record, Sea to Shining Sea, Cannonball Run. Remember that movie?
Oh, I remember the movie. I actually entered in the early '70s, but we broke down
What were you
outside.
running?
We were in a Corvette, not my Corvette, a friend's Corvette, and it overheated and blew the engine.
I would say a less than desired result.
Less than the desired results, but we didn't get any tickets
Okay.
because you have to average about 90 plus.
Well, the guy that just broke the record, we'll tell you about it in a little bit, but he almost got a ticket, but he got away with it for the strangest of reasons. So we'll
It,
just he
yeah,
was about to get a ticket, but he didn't. So let's just say that we'll tease that.
yeah, we'll
Um,
leave that alone.
yeah. We're also going to have pricing for Subaru Crosstrek and VW Taos. And I'm going to have an at the wheel review of a very capable pickup, the Toyota Tacoma, which is, well, you buy one now and it won't lose much money at all. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we had Consumer Reports on, and they were talking about vehicles that don't just don't depreciate that fast, and Tacoma was
Yeah.
one of them. So this is the TRD off-road edition, and there's a couple of different grades of TRD pickups, but quite capable.
May I ask you a question, sir?
Sure.
Where is the mud?
Uh, the spray on mud. No,
Yeah.
I didn't take it mudding. I liked the way it looked before it was dirty. The undercarriage was dirty, but nice pickup. 5-foot bed, and four doors, so not bad at all. You can get this with a hybrid. The one I tested did not have the hybrid, but that is okay. That is okay. We test them all.
Yeah.
So, hey, this is all coming up on Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staab. He's Les Jackson. Here we go.
This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on
Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine, and we are your on-air hosts. My name is Les Jackson. You know that. And you especially know that guy over there in that microphone, Fred Staab. And what do you think, Fred? Do you think the industry is slowing down at all for the fall?
I don't know, Les. It looks like we've got a lot of reveals. We've got some interesting technology. We've got pricing on new models. So I would say no.
I think you're right. It just keeps coming. And we're ready to. By the way, I'm going to be going to a Porsche event next week. I'll report on that. But that's different. Anyway, we have plenty of things to talk about, starting with Tesla.
Yep.
And its Cybercab, or Robo taxi, that it has no steering wheel or pedals. Elon Musk is pushing this. He showed up in it. And the Robo van, and he had I guess a bevy of dancing beauties, Optimus Robots. I'm beginning to worry about the guy myself, but that said, the Robo van, I will give him credit. That's very cool looking.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it was a bit of a surprise, but we'll talk about that. And I actually am a fan of the robots. I think that's kind of fun and would be handy. Apparently, they're going to cost $30,000. So,
well, everything seems to be $30,000.
It's a good round figure. Even that 3 is round. So we'll talk about that. And then Nissan. Nissan is pricing out the 2025 Pathfinder. We'll tell you what's new for that model and what you can have to part with to buy one. How's that sound?
That's right. Very popular vehicle. And Fisker wants to charge owners for fixing recalled vehicles. Now,
that's illegal, I believe.
That's illegal. So good luck on that, Fisker.
Yeah, and also we found out there's an interesting report that when they left their HQ, they literally left clay models and hazardous waste and everything else, so they ran out the door.
Wow.
We're also going to talk about why do some Americans not like plug-in hybrids, and there's a new Cannonball Run record, Les Jackson. See the shining sea.
Cannonball Baker, see the shining sea.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that.
Yeah, we'll tell you about that and more when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson, we will be right back, so stay tuned. All right. Well, Les, we're going to talk about Tesla's Robo taxi in just a little
Right.
bit. But how about a Cybertruck police car? Irvine, California, has equipped a Cybertruck as a police vehicle with radio, siren, all that, even some tough-looking steely wheels.
Um,
And
I I don't. Where do you put the crims?
I don't know. I guess you put them in the back, and
I guess you do.
yeah. Interesting. Upfit is a company that upfits police vehicles, and they did this, and as part of the DARE program. So I guess they do use it as a patrol vehicle. By the way, I had a first the other night. I was watching this video on YouTube, and it was police chase. The police car was a Tesla, and was really moving out to catch this guy. Eventually, they broke off the chase, but it's the first time I saw that. Is that becoming a common thing? Tesla police vehicles.
The problem is if the perp cranks it up to about 140, the Tesla will get there, but it'll run out of juice real quickly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But hey, what do you think? Are you seeing Teslas as police vehicles in your neighborhood? And is it a good idea if they get into a long chase or whatever? What if they get into a chase near the end of their shift and the battery's low? Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then he sits there on the side of the road waiting for someone to tow him away.
Yeah. In the cyber police truck. We'll talk about that and more when we come back. Robo Taxi coming up. And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Big event, Les Jackson. Tesla, this past Thursday night in Hollywood, revealed its Robo taxi. A lot of talk about the Robo taxi. It's an interesting form factor for a cab. It's kind of like a cut-down Model 3, I would say, with gull-wing doors. And I think about fleet use. And like using it in New York City, like if you open that door, it's going to go right out into the lane of traffic.
That's right. Or if you're at the curb, it's going to knock the person over.
Yeah.
Who wants to get in. And speaking of getting in, I don't know too many people that want to squirm in behind a folded front seat.
There's no back seats. It only holds two to three people.
Well, that's just wonderful.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about this, right? They're saying, they being Elon Musk, is saying it will cost under $30,000. And he said it would become available in 2026, although he added he's missed many deadlines in the past. Well, at least that's good. He is honest about that. It will will move to full unsupervised full self-driving. We'll get the name to it. What's interesting, this Reuters article I was reading said there's a company called Aurora Innovation, and they're going to start hauling freight fully autonomously with tractor trailers on Texas freeways by the end of 2025. Interesting.
They're going to, there are federal and state regulations about that, and you have to satisfy them. I just have my doubts that anybody can do this in such a short time period, but
we'll see.
And they're still level 3.
Yeah, so, I know. We'll see. It seems like a big jump that has to happen. What do you think of the shape of the vehicle, though? I kind of like the shape of it, but I don't think it is the best form factor, as I said, for it'd be a fun electric car, probably.
It looks like a fun electric car. I kind of like the shape too.
Looks like the original Honda Insight, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's what it does. No steering wheel, no pedals, but it kind of looks to me like the original Honda Insight, the one that had the covered wheels. But there you have it. That supposedly is going to change the world of driving, and Uber and Lyft will use that. They won't have to use drivers. Who knows? I would have thought of more of a small box, but if it's a box that you're after, we can help you out with that too, because he's got a model.
We sure can.
It sort of looks like a rolling toaster, but the Cybervan came out. Apparently, it can be a mobile diner too. But the Cybervan came out. It holds about 20 people, and it is kind of like I would call it an autonomous light rail system. And I see a bigger use case for this, because I'll give you, for instance, I live in a town where there's no bus to the train station from my part of town, right? One of these things would be great for that, wouldn't it?
It would. And there are lots of places like that around the country.
Like a light rail. Light rail is so big in Europe, you don't need to put tracks down. If it could be totally autonomous and would work, I think this would be quite neat. Maybe the answer is just put a road in the center of the road and this thing runs back and forth on it. But I'm kind of more excited about that, to tell the truth. And I think it looks cool. It's Art Deco.
Yeah, it is. It's Art Deco, and yet futuristic. And I think it has more uses for more people.
Right.
And it's, although again, you've got some real serious regulations and risks that you have to overcome.
Yeah.
But this will be one day. I mean, there's no doubt about it. As this century goes on, this is going to be the future.
Yes. Well, we'll also have to mention the Optimus Robots. We'll do that when we come back on Cruise Control. I just want to keep looking at the Cybervan, the Robo van. But we'll tell you about the robots coming from Tesla as well. When we come back on Cruise Control, yes, we are your on-air automotive magazine. We'll be right back. Break. So, Les, if you were to get a robot, what would you have it do for you?
Well, I would certainly have it clean my house.
Yeah, me too. Load the dishwasher. I hate loading the dishwasher and unloading it.
I hate unloading the dishwasher.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I really do. And I would definitely have it mow the lawn and trim all the bushes and stuff, which I hate to do, and blow the leaves away and all that stuff. And now, what else would I have it do? What would I
clean the garage and clean and organize the garage?
Well, yeah, but who does the thinking on that?
AI, which will be built into it.
Okay, but I like things in a certain place. I'm going to be arguing with my robot.
You may have to do a little training session with the robot, but
yeah.
But seriously, these robots are in use in Mercedes and BMW plants.
Yep.
It seems like the future is accelerating very quickly.
It does. Now, you've got to plug them in. Or
probably a USB-C 5-volt plug-in, like your phone.
I guess it's programmed to plug itself in.
I don't know. Maybe it has wireless charging in its feet or something.
It's possible.
All right, we're coming back to cruise control. Stand by.
Yeah.
Cruise control.
And welcome back to take it, Les. Yes, it's
Thank
yours.
you. Welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred and I we're still on robots and the Cybercab and all that kind of stuff. It's fascinating. It really is.
It is. It's much more futuristic than a lot of, it's certainly not play it safe. So I'll give Tesla credit
Right.
for that, especially the Robo van.
And this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is happening with many, many, many companies developing these things.
There are at least 5 humanoid robot builders right now. Boston Dynamics was the first,
Yeah.
and theirs were the scariest because
And,
they had no head. Which is,
yeah, I wanted to have something that looks humanish, like eyes or
yeah. Well,
something.
the Optimus robots basically were handing out drinks and hors d'oeuvres at this Tesla reveal party.
That's very cool.
And then they broke into a dance routine.
The sad thing about this, Fred, is that the worst robot on the face of the earth can dance better than I can. That's really a sad truth.
Yeah. I kind of would have liked to seen the robots handing out drinks and hors d'oeuvres, so wouldn't that have been fun?
Yeah, it would. And again, this is the future. We can't stop this.
No. And as I was saying earlier, the plants of Mercedes and BMW are using these robots to load shelves and carry boxes around and things like that. And they are humanoid robots, so they have legs, they have arms, and they're carrying things like you or I would carry them. So interesting.
Yeah.
But I just think this is going to accelerate. This will be a trend. I tell you, if I was starting out in a career, I think I'd get into that.
I would get into that too. Look how long robots have been building cars.
Yeah, exactly. They just had one arm as opposed to 2 arms
That's
and
right.
2 legs. Yeah,
And they're perfect. They're absolutely perfect.
yeah, interesting stuff. Well,
Yeah.
Let's talk about something that's a little less futuristic, but still very good, Les Jackson. That is the Nissan Pathfinder 2025. Nissan's been struggling a bit, so they're probably looking for this to do very well. And the pricing, frankly, for the start of it, for a large SUV, is not that bad. It is $37,070 for the Pathfinder S two-wheel drive. And then the first all-wheel drive is $39,070. Remember, this is a pretty large vehicle, isn't it?
It is actually, and frankly, it seems very well priced compared to its competition.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so as well. And then if you want to step up to the SV model, four-wheel drive model is $42,060. Pathfinder SL four-wheel drive, $45,260. The Platinum four-wheel drive, $51,810, and the Pathfinder Rock Creek four-wheel drive, which is quite a nice version. You and I have driven that, $45,160. And then there's up charges for a few things like premium paint or the two-tone roof. Two-tone roof is $495. Frankly, I like the two-tone roof. I think it makes them look good.
Yeah, I do too. But, it's interesting. There are so many options you can get on these that a lot of people will get, like captain's chairs and stuff, running boards. This quickly can get well over 50,000.
Spiral out of control, as they would say.
Yeah. But it's going to last you 10, 12 years or more.
Yeah. The problem, I guess, for the Pathfinder is doesn't it compete against the RAV4, which is the money-making engine of Toyota?
Yeah.
And their hybrid options there, and just a lot going on. So it is a nice looking vehicle, though. Pathfinder, I always found it to be one of the smoothest riding vehicles out there.
Yeah.
When it comes to large SUVs, I just think it's one of those vehicles that they've engineered to be comfortable and practical. And if you get the mid-grade ones in the 40s, even if you add a few things to them, it's not that bad, right?
I agree. I agree also with the softer ride. I've noticed Nissan Rogues, even though that's a very much off-road vehicle, they ride great.
Yeah, yeah. So there you have it, the 2025 Nissan Pathfinder. As we were telling you last week, it's Nissan's struggling with sales. So if you
Yeah.
need a vehicle, they have 2023s yet that they're
It's
looking
all
to
about
sell.
product.
Yeah, so you could buy a 2023 or almost a leftover now, 2024. Hard to believe, but
Yeah.
2024 is considered a leftover. So let's talk a little bit about Fisker. There's a few Fisker stories bubbling up this week. Of course, Henrik Fisker, BMW designer, he tried to twice now to have a vehicle company of his own. The Fisker Ocean was a very nice looking crossover, electric crossover, but big problems. They went bankrupt, and here's an interesting story about their bankruptcy. There was a fleet management company that was going to buy his remaining 3,000 or more Oceans. And the idea was that they would need access to the server or to transfer all the information they need to keep these vehicles running, since they have to report home. They would keep these vehicles running by accessing the information on the server. And everyone thought, well, it's no big deal. We'll just gain access to that server, or we will put it on another server. Turns out they can't do it. They can't transfer this data. And it could sink the whole deal for these vehicles, and it's a big problem for the owners of the current Fiskers, and of course Fisker, this company that was going to do this, paid Fisker a lot of money for these vehicles already, which was part of their, it helped them with their bankruptcy. So now what happens? That's a mess, isn't it? American Lease is the company, by the way.
It's a
American
real
Lease.
problem. It's a real problem. And there's, Fisker also, because of the situations with NHTSA, National Traffic, Highway Traffic Safety
Administration.
Agency. Yes, sorry. It's just, I know everybody there. It's just down the street. They have to actually pay some other things to owners, not just for recalls, but they can't because they don't have any money. So
Well,
now what? They'll send you the parts now,
Yeah.
which that I would do. I
I always
probably
like
would put
that.
the parts in.
I always like if it was a simple recall,
Yeah.
like replacing bolts or something like that. Yeah, I mean, if it was like you need to put a whole new engine in, then I'd be like, hey, I think you ought to do that for me. But but it's illegal to say your vehicle has a safety recall and you have to pay for it to fix it. I mean,
Yeah.
they're always through all the Takata, recalls and things like that. Nobody ever said you had to pay for it yourself. So
Never. It's part of federal law. A recall requires the manufacturer to recall the vehicle
yeah,
and do all of the repairs to get it back to proper safety level at their expense.
right.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, we'll have some more Fisker news when we come back. Apparently, they left so quickly, some of their clay models of their pickup truck and their sporty car were left behind. And the guy's like, what do I do with this stuff that owns the space? So
Take
we'll,
it.
we'll talk about that when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Stay tuned.
Fisker.
So, Les, we've had Henrik Fisker on. Very nice guy, great designer.
Absolutely.
Designed a lot, and risk taker, which I appreciate and look up to. But this deal turned out terribly for him. I think that these were some of the nicest vehicles he made too. They were made by Steyr. Was it Steyr? Magna Steyr.
Magna Steyr, right.
Yeah, which is they build vehicles, small, groups of vehicles for a lot of different manufacturers. I believe they built the first X3 for BMW, and then it changed over to their own plant. But that's what they do. They're a for-hire automotive manufacturing company. But anyway, Oceans were built there, and our next story we're going to get to when we come back is the fact that when Fisker closed up their HQ, they left behind clay models of their upcoming vehicles. The Alaska, which was a pickup truck, electric pickup truck, and the Ronin, which was a sporty car. You would think someone might want those in the company,
Well,
right?
you would think so. Plus, collectors would love
Here we
to
go.
have them because you're right.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. And we were continuing to talk about Fisker. Of course, Henrik Fisker, BMW designer, and also automotive entrepreneur. Bankruptcy happened. They're trying to sell the vehicles to this leasing company. They're trying to keep the servers up and running. But there's a report that their headquarters was abandoned so quickly that they left behind clay models of their upcoming Alaska pickup truck and Ronin sporty car, which you never see somebody, you would think that would be destroyed because, someone could come in there and grab that and just build it, right?
You would think so, but
Steal the design. I mean, they couldn't build it.
I don't understand why they left so quickly.
Well, there's a guy, they rented this property from Shamrock Properties, a Tony Lazzini, right? And he said he went in there, he found tubs of hazardous waste, 55-gallon drums of hazardous waste. He found these clay models. He said all kinds of stuff all over the place. And he said when they were closing down, people were just shoving computers and things in their personal cars. It sounds pretty random to me, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And, again, this is kind of similar, and the circumstances are not, but the effects here are similar to when DeLorean went out of business.
Yeah, just chaos and just
yeah.
It's kind of sad. It really is sad. I was hoping this would do well. I thought they had some great designs. They had that pickup truck. They had, but you look at even Rivian struggling now, and you see them everywhere. It would have been very hard for them to keep this going. The Ocean was a great start. I think it was a wonderful start, but if you can't service them, if you can't handle recalls, if you can't, people couldn't get in their vehicles or they were trapped inside their vehicles.
Which is the problem.
Somebody backs into your bumper and the insurance company scraps the car because they can't get a bumper for it. It's really stupid, isn't it?
It is sad. And Fisker is a good guy. He's got a great track record in the industry before he attempted to build his own cars. This is the second attempt. I guess this is the last attempt.
You never know. They
Although you
say
never know.
failure is part of the business world, and
Yep.
he certainly had a couple of big ones. But let us know in the comments. What do you think? Will Fisker come back for a third time? His third time a charm? Will they, who knows, drag those clay models out and use them somewhere else? It just seems like a shame. That's a little bit of automotive history. Bet they show up on eBay somewhere.
I am sure they will.
So, hey, it's a sad end. I would like to have driven one, but yeah, I don't think I will be doing that anytime in the future. But
No.
I may be able to drive this next vehicle we're going to talk about, and that is the Mini Cooper, a Mini Cooper S convertible. Nice looking vehicle, of course, very popular. And it's coming to the U.S. with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 161 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. And the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine in the Mini Cooper S convertible is tuned to produce 201 horsepower with 221 pound-feet of torque. What you think? I love the British flag on the top of the roof.
Yeah. That's just such a nice touch.
I'm not a fan of the big pizza pan on.
I've never been a fan of the big circular center dash. I think it doesn't. I know that they did it because the original Minis just had a single gauge pack circular in the middle, but I don't know. I think it takes away from just the overall really attractive look of it, but I understand why it's there. I also love the top that comes down in 18 seconds.
Yes. Do you ever try to put the top up or down while you're moving? You
I
can.
have, yes.
It scares the crap out of me, though. I think
I just think you're putting such an air
Strain.
load
Yeah.
against it that you've seen what hurricanes do.
Yes. Imagine if it gets all mangled. It's not going to be inexpensive to fix it.
Oh no.
But yeah, other than the pie pan on the dash, I think it's a pretty good looking car. It's got everything people like in it. The go-kart handling. They say the expressive headlights. Fully automatic fabric top for safe driving. You can open it up at speeds or fold it up or open it up at 18.6 miles per hour. If you're going 18.7, you're in trouble. And concealed behind the headrests in the rear of the Mini convertible is the integrated rollover protection system. It's activated automatically as soon as the central safety electronics detect the risk of a rollover. Pop-up roll bars. I don't think they're NHRA approved. Or the drag
Probably
track.
not, but they
They
are.
need to go fast.
That's right. But it's a great system.
Yeah.
The first ones that I remember that did that were Volvo
And Saab, I believe, also had that.
back in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Probably something that you have to be careful of if you're trying to take that off and put it in a salvage yard. It might surprise you. But globally, 12 paint finishes are available for the new Mini Coopers, including the exclusive and elegant copper gray, which is the one that they've been showing off. And the JCW trim will be headed for the U.S. market. And also for the U.S. market, 2 individual trims, which are referred to as styles, including classic style and favored style, with a total of 11 paint finishes in the U.S. So certainly it's a fun time when you have one of these for your press vehicle and drive it. It's always been great, and I guess they'll still put the sign on the dash. Is there a reason why the top is up?
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. It really is it's a youthful car. Not that it can only be driven by young people, but it's a car that looks youthful. You feel kind of younger when you drive one.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's just a fun car.
It's also a fun car if you're living in a city and you want something that's not just a, cheap and cheerful car. It's cheerful. It's not cheap. I mean, we don't have prices.
It is not
but these
cheap.
can get very expensive. But it is a great city car with style that is great for getting in and out of places. So you see them. I was in London not that long ago, and man, they were everywhere. You couldn't walk down a street without a Mini on it of some kind. So there you have it. Hey, you're listening to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We appreciate that. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. Got a few more stories for you that will come up after the break. Why do some Americans not like plug-in hybrids? Apparently they don't. They like regular hybrids, but not. Yeah. And we're also going to talk about the Cannonball Run. There's a new record. And, the guy made it through with no tickets whatsoever. He was almost about to get a ticket, Les. And then it's a very interesting story what happened. But we'll tell you about that. Both of those stories coming up. You actually did the Cannonball Run at some point, or started it?
I joined one of the early ones in '71, and a friend of mine had a '69 Corvette, unair conditioned.
Ooh.
Okay, well that was stupid blunder number one for me. And a 427, which is mistake.
Foot heater, heated floor, comes with heated
floor.
Well,
on top of that, they're very thirsty.
Yeah.
Extremely thirsty, especially at high speed.
Yes.
And Corvettes back then only had about a useful 175-mile range on their tanks as it was.
Right.
So just a bad idea. It seemed like a great idea.
Did he window the block? Did he blow the engine?
It was the block left us in Cincinnati. There were parts on the highway.
Yeah, carnage on the highway. Ooh.
Yeah, it disassembled.
Yeah.
And we figured, well, we're going to take a bus back to D.C. The whole thing was just a stupid idea.
That alone sounds like a bad deal. Cincinnati, a bus from Cincinnati to Washington.
Yeah,
DC.
well, that's true. Of course, it started, in Manhattan.
Yes, a Red Bull Garage, right?
Right. The Cannonball Baker Sea to Shining Sea Memorial Trophy Dash is what it was called.
Okay.
And you had a lot of famous people driving in it, like Brock Yates.
Oh yeah.
And some celebrities, and it just seemed like, well, this is just, Nixon had just started the 55 speed limit, or actually was threatening it, and it was just, we were going to just stick it to the man.
Stick it to the man. Yeah. I tell you, every time I hear someone say, I want a big block Corvette, no. I never think it's a great idea now, unless you're a collector and you really want it. But really, that's a lot of weight up front in that car, isn't it?
Especially with manual steering.
So you guarantee you'll sweat in that car. Manual steering, and no air conditioning.
You'll have a muscle tension headache, and you'll sweat. And it was just a different era. And you get no sympathy from anyone.
No.
But it's exciting.
Yeah. Well, we'll have that story coming up when we come back. We'll start with that one. This guy had some some interesting fun along the way. So stay tuned to Cruise.
Cruise control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred and I want to get through these stories as quick as we can.
Yes, absolutely, Wes.
And we really need to catch up. But shall we talk about Americans not buying the hybrids or plug-ins real quick?
Let's start with the Cannonball Run, I think.
Okay, well, the Cannonball Run has a new winner.
Yes.
Pretty impressive, by the way.
Yes, Chris Stowell averaged 105 miles an hour and a top speed of 151. Achieved a coast-to-coast time of 27 hours and 16 minutes. He had a 2015 BMW 535 diesel with a 40-gallon tank in the trunk, an extra 40-gallon tank in the trunk, and it gave him 800 to 900 miles of range. How's that?
Wow. Wow. It's interesting. The cars that win, and of course this was back in the heyday, were rather simple vehicles. You know, a station wagon, a van, stuff like that. The record, the year that we didn't get very far in it, was an average speed of 92, I think, and it was 34 hours and some number of minutes.
Wow. Well, listen to some.
That's coast to coast.
I know. Listen to some of the mods he did. He took off the staggered tires that BMW had and put on 4 all similar sized tires.
Smart.
So he could carry spares. He didn't have to carry multiple spares. He put that 40-gallon tank in. He ran a full complement of GPS systems, laser jammer, and Insta360 camera. And somewhere along the line, he got a ticket, or was about to get a ticket, and the trooper said, "Come back with me. I've got a printer in my vehicle, and I'll print the ticket out." Well, the printer jammed, and the cop couldn't get it to print.
Wow.
So he said, "Hey, just forget about it. You know, just take it as a warning." Talk about luck.
That's wonderful.
He's like the cop tried, and it was like trying to put new paper in it, and it's like it's jammed. It's not going to work. And he said, just be more careful next time. But other than that, he wasn't stopped. Which I have noticed this. There are people going really fast, and there's not a lot of enforcement, at least around by me. I mean, really fast.
No, you're right.
Easily over 100 on bikes and cars and moving back and forth in lanes. I mean, just someone that would stand out. If you were sitting on the side of the road and that guy went past, you would take off.
Yeah, that's the kind of driving that gets people killed because it spooks the other drivers.
Yeah.
And they may overcorrect. So you always want to, if you're speeding a lot, you always want to slow down as you approach slower drivers.
Sounds like a tension-filled drive, though. I'd like to take a little bit slower myself.
Oh, man.
I'd be like, whoa. Anyway, that's that record. But let's talk about the hybrid. Hybrids, big popularity. Manufacturers trying to get them back into their lineup, moving away from electric vehicles. But it turns out that Americans don't like plug-in hybrids. Now, why is that? Well, it has to do with this is a eVision Intelligence report by J.D. Power, by the way. Turns out people don't see a value proposition in them compared to the hybrid. They don't get a lot of electric range. The cost is higher. I always say, rough rule of thumb, if a vehicle's $30,000, a hybrid will be $35,000, and a plug-in hybrid will be about $40,000. Rough rule of thumb. And a lot of them don't bother charging the battery. They just feel that a hybrid is better for them than a plug-in hybrid. So when you have plug-in hybrid press cars, do you plug them in?
Did I plug them in?
Yeah.
Um, Not more than half the time.
Okay. So do you think it's that people feel, hey, it's not really needed? I don't want to mess with
Well,
the plug.
you're getting, you're not. I don't believe with a plug-in you're getting $3,000 or $4,000 worth of greater use. You are
Okay.
getting greater mileage, but in terms of practical usage, I tend to agree with these buyers that you're it's you're not getting something for the money for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree. I would agree. And I would think also probably some even plug-in hybrids don't even take fast charging. So,
No, no.
you've got to remember to plug it in when you come home. And I do have neighbors that do have, one of them has a RAV4 Prime, and it's always plugged in when it's sitting out there. And I believe another one has an Escape plug-in hybrid. And they're usually, when I walk past, they are quite often plugged in. But I think a lot of people just don't bother with them. Now, do you think that would change less if, with battery technology, instead of the average range being 30 miles, maybe 60 miles, if today is a good number, but if it was 100 miles, do you think people
I
would
think
do it?
yeah, I think that would be a deal, a deal maker,
Yeah.
because well, I can go 100 miles on this battery. That's a couple days.
Yeah. If I don't get around to going to the gas station, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you like plug-in hybrids, or do you think, nah, a hybrid is good? I have a friend that bought a CUV, something I recommended, the Santa Fe, and I said, well, plug-in hybrid or hybrid. He said, definitely hybrid, no plug-in hybrid. And it was just because of the way his house was set up. He didn't have a plug. It's hard to explain, but he didn't have an easy way to plug it in. He didn't have a driveway, so.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
he said that's a lot more money, and he didn't think it was worth it either. So I don't know. We'll see. I do think if they got over 100 miles range and charged up quickly, maybe people would do it. But since they don't have to do it, I think they don't do it.
right.
In most cases. So
It's still a great idea,
it's a great
but
idea.
it's a more of a niche market than I think any of us thought.
Yeah, I kind of like the be prepared idea to have like, well, we've got at least 100 miles, even 60
Yep.
miles of range with this, and then where it might come in the future, and I don't know if we'll ever get to this point, but if cities say you have to be on electric when you come into the city and you're commuting, you would run the gas engine, and you get to, let's say in the case of New York City, the tunnel, and then you force it over
Yep.
into electric mode. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Some of the other neat ones, like the Jeep, will charge the battery as you drive around. You hear the engine rev up, and it's charging the battery. I don't know if that's a good idea for economy. You probably burn more gas to charge the
Well,
battery, but it's a
yeah,
cool idea in a sense, right?
it is a cool idea, but you got to get the energy from somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, I remember doing that to say, oh, charged battery. And I was like, why is the engine revving so high when I'm at a stoplight? It's like, what's wrong with this? Really loose torque converter or something. I don't know. But
Wow.
who knows? Maybe the idea is, like we've talked about, extended range electrics, like the Ram charger that's coming out, where the engine is always charging the battery when it needs it, but it's not really a plug-in hybrid. Who knows? Let's have a variety so we can talk about it on Cruise Control. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We will see you down the road.
Bye.